Now, the Biden administration in the US has announced that Wang Yi, China's top diplomat, is due to visit the United States later this week.
This long-awaited trip coincides with West Asia's escalating tensions, which, according to the United States officials, Beijing can help manage.
Now, Wang Yi will arrive in Washington on October 26th for a three-day visit. He is expected to meet US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and President Joe Biden's National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. The visit will be the most significant in-person interaction ahead of the anticipated November meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and US President Joe Biden in San Francisco. It is also the eagerly anticipated bilateral visit after Blinken and other key American officials visited Beijing this summer.
The visit also comes as Russia-Ukraine war continues and the world is focused on the October 7th Hamas militant attacks and Israel's response to it. While Beijing has gotten closer to Russia since the start of the Ukraine war and has advocated for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, Washington is delivering military supplies to Israel and Ukraine.
As per US officials, the meeting will cover both the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the Israel-Hamas conflict. And further, the US would push the Chinese to take a more constructive approach on both the fronts. China's capacity to sway Iran is important, and Washington knows that.
During his brief visit to the Middle East last week, Blinken called Wang and urged him to use Beijing's influence in the area and make sure that the conflict doesn't extend further. Now, for more on Wang Yi's upcoming visit to Washington, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Listen in.
China is expected to dispatch its foreign minister to Washington this week to meet with his counterpart, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, for possible preparations for that summit that is expected to take place next month in San Francisco. Also this week, a delegation of Chinese business, cultural, and sports figures are due here in New York. Now, this is according to the Wall Street Journal. The State Department has yet to comment on the Chinese foreign minister's visit and also these recent engagements by Beijing. The pickup in bilateral talks, however, may indicate that Xi Jinping will accept President Biden's invitation to take part in that APEC summit scheduled next month in San Francisco. Xi this month told visiting Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer that, quote unquote, there are 1,000 reasons for the U.S. and China to cooperate. However, all is not well in bilateral relations. We learned from Chinese state media that a Chinese academic accused of spying for the United States is set to be tried under China's espionage law. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World as well.